Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I hope you are watching this real time and you're a patron on our Patreon page. If so, thank you very much for your support. If you're watching it on YouTube real time because you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you very much. If you have a Twitch account and an Amazon Prime account, you can link them together and we'll get paid that way as well. So you can do that in addition to supporting us on Patreon or subscribing on YouTube. Any way you can help us get paid. Otherwise, Shane's going to have to go get a job and our lights are going out. From YouTube, from Rick B. Many video game companies have restricted sales or play of their games in Russia since the country invaded Ukraine. Do you think this response will have any effect on the younger generation of Russians and how they view the invasion? Fortnite has generated almost $150 million in relief funds so far. Are you happy with how the industry has responded in general? I don't want to get overtly political here, but this isn't a video game industry issue. This is a global issue, and everybody has to put the pain on Russia's government in order to get them to stop being aggressors and murdering innocents, and that's really what's going on. So the video game industry is along for the ride, just like fast food companies aren't operating in Russia. The key is to wreck the Russian economy, and if we wreck the Russian economy, then presumably the Russian people will rise up and boot Putin out. And unfortunately, because it's a dictatorship that poses as a democracy, it's not clear that that they'll win. I mean, they might take a military coup. So what we're really trying to do is let Russians know that they're going to be in a world of pain if their leaders continue to be oppressors and aggressors, especially murdering men, women, and children in a neighboring country. So no, I don't think the games industry is doing enough. No, I don't think the world's doing enough. I think they should do more. I play a mobile game that has Russian players in it every day, and they're still there. So I don't know. No, the company told all the players, we're going to stop doing something in Russia. It looked like they said promoting, so they didn't shut them off. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I assume when McDonald's says we're not operating restaurants in Russia that they're all closed, but I don't know. I mean, their franchises. Are the owners of the franchise still selling burgers and just sourcing their meat and fries elsewhere? I don't know. I haven't been in Russia, so I'm not sure. But the video game thing, it's not necessarily getting the word out because the news in Russia is telling the average Russian that the war is a defense of Russia against the Nazis in Ukraine. So Putin is crazily making up stuff and telling his people through his state-run media that they're doing the right thing and they're defending themselves against these horrific, racist Nazi Ukrainians, notwithstanding the president of Ukraine is Jewish, so probably not a Nazi. And I think that when games are shut down or fast food's shut down, the media in Russia says that's the West trying to disrupt the Russian economy because they fear us because we're doing the right thing and they're evil. And who knows what people believe. There are many Americans who believe that Russia is right and Ukraine is the aggressor. We have a congressman from North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn, who called Zelensky a thug, still in Congress. So, there are people out there in our country who support Putin. There are many, many, many more Russians who support Putin because they believe the crap they're being fed. So if we cut them off, if the video game companies cut them off, they're still going to believe what they hear and read. I really think the most effective means of getting the word to them, and the Ukrainians are pretty brilliant about this, every time they capture a Russian soldier, they're giving them a phone and telling them to call their mother and tell their mother that they're okay and that they're being treated humanely, and that's happening. And apparently the Russian troops who are captured, and there's not that many of them, thousands, but not millions, but a few thousand Russian troops have called home and said, wow, the Ukrainians live better than we do. They have a much better life, and they're free, and we're doing terrible things here, and this is a war of aggression. That's how the word's going to get out. I don't think video games is going to change the equation at all. I think that the industry, if they really, really, really wanted to do right, shut down servers, shut down internet, don't supply anything to Russia. I think a lot of companies are paying lip service to the boycott, to the ban, and still doing some business. And there are businesses like Papa John's Pizza, I think it was him, who said he wouldn't stop, that he's not going to shut it down. So I don't know the answer. I'm really curious. I'm a stock market analyst. We're going to learn this earnings season, which ended March 30th, if there were companies that are impacted by lower sales, not having sales in Russia. An example, and here's a company I know for sure shut down in Russia, is Netflix. So I'm really curious to see how Netflix reports its subscribers, because one would think with Russia having a couple 100 million people, which is 2/3 as big as the U.S. or something, they must have 10 million subscribers. So if Netflix's subscriber count drops because of that, then we'll know how big of an impact it is. And by the way, I know Netflix shut down in Russia, so interesting that it's a big company that it matters to them that they're losing that revenue. And so I want to see how the market reacts to companies being hurt by lower sales in Russia. But the answer is no. I don't think video game companies are doing much, if anything, to move the needle. And Russia is not a big console market. It's a very big mobile market and a very big free-to-play market. So League of Legends, World of Tanks, the founders are from Belarus, which is the country just immediately to the north of Ukraine that is a Russian puppet state, and the dictator there, big goofy looking dude with a beard and no mustache, is a terrible guy, but he's been the dictator for 20 years because Putin put him in charge. They're supplying the Russian troops, through Belarus. So not that the World of Tanks guys are bad guys. They live in Cyprus now. They left Belarus. But my point is that that's a big Russian game.
They shut it down.
They did, World of Tanks?
Just
good for them.
2 days ago they announced
Oh, good. Good for them. Yeah, good for them. That's big for them then, because that's got to be a third of their revenue.
They admitted it was going to crush them financially, but they couldn't, in good conscience.
Good for them, because I didn't see that. That's really good to see. Yeah, and again, I like Victor. I think he's a fun guy to party with. And I gotta say, most of the Russians I know are fun, good people, and fun to party with as well. I've never met an oligarch, so the world in Russia is kind of divided into guys who are working to make a living and doing their best, and the guys who Putin hands state-owned businesses to and makes them billionaires. So I don't know the billionaires, although I guess Victor's probably a billionaire, but he's Belarusian. Living in Cyprus, and I think he's become a citizen of Cyprus. Anyway, am I happy with how the industry responded? They're doing what they're supposed to do, which is go along with the NATO country-led boycott, so US-led and UK-led and all the other countries. We just have to stop this. I mean, you can't let this guy off the hook, because if he gets away with it, he'll do it again and again and again. And now I will get political. I feel that way about the guys who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Even if they thought they were right, you can't let them get away with it, or it'll happen again. And the analogy is, and here's a perfect example is, O.J. Simpson went to jail because he claimed someone stole his sports memorabilia, like his Heisman Trophy and other stuff, and he went to the hotel room where the people he believed stole it were, and the stuff was there, but he went in with a bunch of hired armed guys, and he took his stuff back at gunpoint. And the point is that if you believe your stuff was stolen, you go to the police. If you believe the election was stolen, you go to court. You don't take the Capitol by force. So people have to learn that there's a line you cross that you're not allowed to. And the people who violated the Capitol and destroyed property and hurt people need to be, criminally charged and convicted. That's Putin. He is destroying property and hurting people badly. He needs to be criminally charged and prosecuted. And we can't get him until we get his people to give him up. If we get him and we try him, he's done. And history lesson, guys, look up the Nuremberg trials. This is bad. I mean, they haven't killed as many people as Hitler did, but it's bad. I mean, this is really, really bad. People found the other day with their hands tied behind their backs and shot in the back of the head. And by the way, apparently in that town, Brusha, apparently in that town, every male between 16 and 60 was executed. Every man, every 16 to 60 years old, because they might have become soldiers, so they got executed. You don't do that. That's wrong. So is a video game boycott enough? Nope. We have to choke Russia big time. And interestingly, here's a Pachter fact. The biggest exporter of wheat after the United States on the planet is Ukraine. And because of this war, they're not going to be able to harvest their crops properly, and they're not going to be able to export wheat. So prices of everything, they're number 3 or so in corn, but they're number 2 in the world in wheat. So prices of bread and bread-related products are going to go through the roof. Just plan ahead, guys, because I would buy a bunch of bread and freeze it, because I think the price is going to double. Anyway, no, I haven't done enough. Thank you for joining us for your political science lesson on Pachter Factor today. If you're a Patreon patron, we do appreciate it. Shane needs some help, so if you guys can find an extra $1 a month or two, please up your contribution. If you're subscribing on YouTube, thank you very much. Again, Shane can use it. I hate to see the guy, starve to death, and then he can't even afford. And by the way, his gas just to get to my house had to cost him like $12 today just to get here, maybe 15. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're a Twitch member and an Amazon Prime member, please link those accounts. The instructions on how to do that are in the show description below. And if you're doing none of those things just because you're lame and you can't help yourself, follow me on Twitter. Give me a hard time, @Michael Pachter. I'll see you next time.